Hello friends, Tanya here for Trinity Stamps, and today I'm going to make a trifold 5x7 card with a window, and we're going to use a few of the new products. This is the Vintage Bunny stamp set. It has a coordinating die, well, two dies, one to cut out this adorable bunny and one to cut out that sentiment that says Easter greetings. Now I'm stamping this with some Copic friendly or alcohol marker friendly ink, and I did stamp two. We're only going to color one right now. I tend to stamp two because I've got all the supplies out and I may as well do it while I have it out. I wanted this bunny to be colored with some pastel colors here, so he's going to have a little yellow vest and a lavender coat, because why not? And I am using two colors of alcohol markers for each color combination, each color of the pieces that I'm making. Here we've got some true blue colors, a lighter and a darker, and these are a little further apart in intensity, but I think they turned out adorable. Got a cute little minty green bow tie and a soft pink shirt. We're going to color the eggs also, and I'm using the same colors as I used for his clothing to color his eggs. Now these are pretty simple eggs. I'm just using one color per egg except for the one with the polka dots. Next, we're going to color the basket. I'm using some of the E30s. I've got an E33 and an E35 here. And no, I don't color this fast. I have this sped up at 4 times its normal speed. So this took me about 5 or 6 minutes to color, so it really didn't take very long. My go-to colors for a creamy white bunny right now are E30 and E00. I think I even use that very light E color to color his teeth. Just going to add that little bit of blending. We're going to take a very soft pink, I think it's R00 with R20, to color the insides of his ears and his little pink nose. I'm going to put this back in the Misty and stamp it again with my Hero Arts Intense Black ink to sharpen up those lines again. And I hadn't stamped it absolutely perfectly the first time because I fully intended to come back and stamp it one more time after I did the coloring. Now I will take that coordinating die and die cut our cute little bunny. Turns out perfect. And I'm going to add some sparkle pen here. I think this is a Spectrum Noir. You can use Wink Estella. You could even use a paintbrush with some liquid pixie dust. You would just need to make sure with the liquid pixie dust that you made sure it was pretty dilute before you started to apply it. Otherwise, it would obscure your coloring. I'm going to add some little bits of sparkle to the polka dots on our egg using that Stardust pen and a little bit of white gel pen to accentuate the white dot in his eye. Next, I wanted an ink blended background. I have a 5.5 by 8.5 inch piece of cardstock here with some shabby shutters and tumbled glass Distress Oxide ink. And now I'm going to spritz it with some pearlized water. This is just perfect pearls in the perfect pearl color in some water, and it adds some beautiful shimmer to our card. Now I am really enjoying playing with my Distress Oxides again. I haven't been doing a whole lot of ink smushing for a while, and it's back time to bring that back. I am spattering some of those same colors over the ink blended area, and now we're going to take our modern embossed edge A7 stack, and this is, I believe, the 4.5 by 6.5 inch. Now we're going to pull out the Picket fence dies, and this has a window die and a grass die and some cloud dies. I figure where I want to place that. And then I'm going to pull out a square die from my stash to cut this a little bigger than what I want the picket fence to be. So we will make sure our margins are all even tack that down, and we'll die cut all of that at once, and it creates a custom window in our card, or excuse me, in our panel. Next, we need to get our card base. So I've got two 5x7 card bases here. And I'm going to trim just a smidgen off of one edge. This is the one that's going to nestle inside the card to create this trifold card. Then I'm going to fit it inside here and figure out what's going to be the front of my card so that I can figure out where to put our square for this window. So I'm going to hold this in place, put in our picket fence die, and grab a piece of tape and stick that to the card base. Now I will take that and run it through my die cut machine, and we have our window. Next, I'm going to take this fallout piece from the panel that we created for the front of the card. I'm going to use that same panel to make sure this is nicely centered and glue that inside that hole so that it matches and you can see it through that picket fence window from the front of the card. Just going to carefully glue that inside. I can remove that panel now that I have my placement and get that nicely adhered. Now it's time to adhere these two card bases together. Just going to line this up with the fold line on the second piece, making sure that all of my edges are even and I don't have any difficulty closing this card front, or excuse me, this card. Now we can adhere that top panel to the front of the card, now that we're done using it for placement for that interior piece. Just going to adhere it straight down. You could put some extra dimension on it if you'd like, but you don't have to. And you can see how this creates a nice white frame around our picket fence die cut window. I think that's so cute. You could use that picket fence die to create a layered component on the front of your card, but I thought this was adorable. Now I want to be able to see our cute little bunny behind that picket fence through that window. So I'm going to use the closed card front to find my placement on the inside of the card. And we're also going to use the lawn die or the grass die with the leftover ink blended pieces to die cut several of these sections of lawn. We're also going to use the Spectrum Noir sparkle pen to add some sparkle to the clouds. These clouds actually cut a little detail in the middle of it also. It's so cute. We're going to layer up these pieces of lawn on the card front underneath the picket fence to give that a little bit of detail, so it looks like there's a grass edge growing up underneath the edge of the picket fence. And since it's longer than the die, which is actually designed to just fit inside that area that is cut out with the picket fence die, I'm layering this in 3 pieces. I've got one to the left, one to the right, and one over the top covering all of them. I'm going to kind of do the same thing on the inside of the card since this square is a little bigger than the picket fence. Just a little bit on each side so that it's even on that square. And then we'll add the third lawn piece right on top of those. Gives a little extra dimension and depth. And as usual, this design is coming together as we go. I just had a rough idea of what I wanted to accomplish, and you're all along for the ride for how I completed this card. Next, we're going to adhere our cute little clouds, and I did contemplate adding them to the front of the card, but I decided that inside you could see them through the window. Next, we're going to take this all heart paper pad that came out last year or the year before. I think it was last year. And we're going to use the EGGstra stamp set and use the coordinating egg dies to cut some out in 4 different colors. Here they are, all in a little container. And we're also going to take the Easter greetings stamp Stamp that on some white cardstock with VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. And again, I'm being brave and just using my acrylic block. I'm only going to stamp this once. And I find that if you ink up really good with your VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, and you just give it a little time to absorb into the cardstock instead of stamp and lift immediately, then you get a good image. I die cut that with the coordinating die after heat embossing it with some clear embossing powder, layered it up with 2 more layers of scrap cardstock, die cut with the same coordinating die, and then I am adhering it to the front of the card. I thought I might use that leftover piece of grass, but decided to just stick with the eggs. I'm going to take one of each color, 2 large and 2 small, and tuck those around our greeting to add a little bit of extra interest there. I know these colors are just a little bolder than what I've ink blended and colored with, but I think they actually go quite well. They're a fun pop of color. And these have a solid color background with these really cute tone-on-tone hearts all over. Oh, I guess I use more than 4. I use 6 eggs on the front of this card. Just having them lay in various directions. So cute. That ties into the egg that the bunny is holding. I'm going to add some eggs on this layer also. I do only use 4 on this part. Again, 1 of each color and dividing the sizes. Just carefully tucking those. And since this is a little bit heavier cardstock, the pattern paper, I do have to hold a little pressure on there to make sure that it gets well adhered to our cardstock. Inside, we're going to take the EGGstra words, and this time I do stamp it a few times to get a good impression, because this is a large greeting and I just felt like it. I am going to again heat emboss this. I stamp it 2 or 3 times with the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. That's a lot of words for black pigment ink, isn't it? And sprinkle some clear embossing powder on it, and I'll heat set that with my heat tool. And this is such a cute, bold sentiment. You can use just the Your Special because the coordinating dies cut out each word individually. Now you can't lay all of the dies on at the same time to die cut this, but as you'll see in a second, you can die cut all of them from the same impression. We're going to glue those inside the card. I'm going to start with the center sentiment, the EGGstra, and I did not add any extra layers behind this because it's on the inside of the card. You don't really want to make it lumpy bumpy in there. Now we will add the Your and the Special, and I have an idea of what I want to do with this. So I'm giving it a little extra space between each word because we're going to add some eggs on this panel also. I think that's the cohesive unit between all 3 parts of this card. I'm going to try to tuck that under the word extra. I would prefer it to have slipped under there, but it was already pretty well adhered, so we're just going to go with it. I'm trying to plan out where I want these different eggs. And I think this is how I finally, here's how I finally landed with how I'm going to do this. I have 3 eggs on each side of the word EGGstra, and I'm just layering them up, avoiding having 2 of the same color in the same grouping. Although it probably doesn't matter. I just like to divide it up that way to spread the color out and add some balance. Just picking up a little bit of extra glue with the pointy end of my pickup tool. I love that pickup stick. I use it constantly, and sometimes I have trouble picking up tiny pieces. I don't have long fingernails, and that acts as my pickup. That is my entire card. It's a really easy way to make a trifold card with a window. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something and you'll give this technique a try. This would work with any size card. Give this video a like, subscribe to this channel, check that description box below for the links to the products that I used today. And until next time, here are a couple more videos I thought you might enjoy. Bye-bye.